Welcome to today's deep dive. If I told you to drop nearly $1,200 on a professional PTZ camera right now, you'd probably expect 4K resolution, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all would.
Right, but today we are looking at the spec sheet for the Bolin Technology N2-220XW, and it purposely limits itself to 1080p. But it honestly might just be the smartest piece of gear on your network. So, okay, let's unpack this. We're going to see why this specific camera actually justifies its price tag for live production setups.
It really does challenge that, that more pixels equals better video assumption we've all been sold lately.
Yeah.
But before we get into that whole resolution debate, we should probably look at how this camera physically integrates into a workflow, because it's built heavily around NDI HX3 and PoE.
Right, power over Ethernet. And just to visualize that PoE setup for a second for you listening, it's very much like how a modern USB-C cable can charge your laptop while simultaneously sending a massive high-res video signal to an external monitor.
That's a great way to think about it.
You're basically running one single Ethernet cable to the Bolin, and it acts as this magic garden hose that handles the power, the control data, and the actual IP video stream.
Well, what's fascinating here is how the NDI HX3 protocol uses that single cable. Because older IP standards, they often really struggled with latency or, heavy compression artifacts.
Oh yeah, those awful blocky shadows on the stream.
Right, exactly. But HX3 manages to deliver visually lossless video with incredibly low latency. So when you pair that network efficiency with the camera's famously quiet, smooth motor movements, you're getting high-end broadcast capabilities. And you don't need a massive dedicated control room.
Or running miles of dedicated video cables.
Exactly.
Okay, I buy that for a live broadcast, but let me push back on the optics for a second. It's packing a 20x optical zoom on a Sony CMOS sensor. Now, if I'm installing this in a standard corporate huddle room, 20x is completely absurd. I do not need to see the CEO's pores,
Well, sure, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, you aren't buying a 20x optical zoom just for a tiny huddle room. It's really about deployment versatility. That lens allows you to mount this exact same model at the far back of a massive auditorium and still get a tightly framed, crystal clear shot of a speaker on stage.
Oh, wow.
And you do that without relying on digital zoom, which would just instantly destroy your image quality.
Oh yeah, digital zoom is the worst. That makes sense. But okay, say someone is pacing around a dark auditorium stage. How is the camera keeping them sharp? Because that's always the real headache for a solo operator tracking a moving subject.
Yeah, and that is where the built-in AI face analytical engine takes over. So it's not just basic autofocus.
Wait, so it's actually looking for faces?
Yes, exactly. The camera actively drives smart exposure and focus by prioritizing the face. So even if your subject walks in front of a really bright window or, say, dips into a shadow, the algorithm constantly adjusts to keep their face properly lit and sharp.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's completely independent of whatever the background lighting is doing.
Okay, well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because we started off by talking about resolution. We've got smart AI tracking, we've got lossless NDI HX3 streaming, and even simultaneous 3G SDI output for, traditional baseband live switching.
Yep, it has all of that.
But it still tops out at 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is roughly 2.13 effective megapixels. Why sacrifice the 4K?
Well, this raises a really important question about what professionals actually value when they are broadcasting live. It's a very deliberate engineering trade-off. Because pushing 4K over an IP network, it takes massive bandwidth and processing power.
Oh, right. It's a huge data pipe.
Exactly. So by capping it at 1080p 60, Bolin ensures buttery smooth motion, zero-drop frames, and hyper-reliable streaming. In a live environment, a flawless, perfectly exposed 1080p shot that never stutters will always trump a 4K stream that buffers.
Or overheats the network switch. So what does this all mean for you listening? Ultimately, this camera acts as a highly efficient bridge. You get the traditional reliability of 3G SDI baseband video right alongside the modern flexibility of NDI HX3, and it's all managed by an AI that essentially acts as your personal focus puller.
Yeah, it proves that smart engineering and reliable protocols matter far more than just, chasing the highest pixel count on a cardboard box.
Absolutely. Which leaves you with one final thought to ponder today. If this camera's onboard AI is already sophisticated enough to recognize a face and flawlessly adjust exposure and focus on the fly.
Which is incredible on its own.
Right. But how long until these analytical engines just take over completely? Are we looking at a future where cameras become fully autonomous directors, deciding exactly who to zoom in on and when, completely eliminating the need for human operators in the room?